well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Welcome to another edition of Bearing Arms, Cam and Company. My name is Cam Edwards. So glad that you've joined us today. And guess who else has joined us? Our friend Rick Ector from Rick's Firearm Academy of Detroit. You can find him online at Detroit CCW. We were supposed to talk to Rick yesterday. Had a little bit of a tech issue, but we've got him today. And I got to tell you, I don't try each and every day on this program to bring you bad news. It's just that quite often the news has not been great, right? We've been talking about ammo shortages. We've been talking about the long delays now if you are applying for your concealed carry license, or in some states applying for a permission slip to simply own a firearm. We've been talking about rising violent crime rates. We've been talking about Joe Biden, Kamala Harris's anti-gun plans. I mean, there's just been a lot of depressing stuff if you are a gun owner and a Second Amendment supporter. Today, we've got some good news for you, because this past weekend, Rick Ector from Rick's Firearm Academy of Detroit put on his annual gun safety training event. He's been doing this for a number of years. And each and every year, this gets bigger in the Detroit area. This is an opportunity for women in particular to go and get a basic free gun safety course, right? I mean, you're not going to walk away as an NRA certified firearms instructor or anything like that, but you are going to know the basics. You are going to be able to be safe and responsible with that firearm. And Rick joins us on the program to talk about a record-setting weekend in the Detroit area in terms of the number of women trained. Take a look and a listen. Rick, it is so good talking with you today. Thank you for coming on the program, man. Glad we're able to hook up.
I am so glad to be invited and to be on the show once again, man. Always a pleasure to touch base with you and let you know what shenanigans I'm up to nowadays.
I'm just so happy I get to talk about some good news for a change here on the program. And this really is great news. So every year for what? Is this the 8th year that you've done this?
The ninth annual.
I missed a year. All right. So the 9th annual, and normally this is done over Mother's Day. You provide a free gun safety course, basically for any woman who wants it. You've got a great team of volunteers that you have been able to work with over the years. This year, because of the coronavirus concerns, obviously y'all weren't able to do this on Memorial Day, Mother's Day, but this past weekend, you did put this event on. And Rick, I mean, tell me about it. It sounds like this was bigger and better than ever.
Oh, man, it was absolutely outstanding. And you know what? There has never been so many challenges in putting together this program as we face this year, as you alluded to earlier with the coronavirus and the lockdown, and then being taken down a couple of phases in this phase plan that our governor has. And finally, we had a lot of restrictions lifted, and that's when I perceived a good opportunity to get the women's event, up and running, man. And right as we were hitting the home stretch to get this program up and running, that's when she wanted to downgrade our status in terms of being able to move about freely and engage in activities. But man, it was all shoots ahead. We weren't, going to not do this program, man, and we just pressed forward, and glad we did, because nothing but great things happened out of it. We had this my flagship program in its 9th year. This is the best iteration of this event, man. We trained a total over a 2-day period, and we trained a ton of women. I'm talking 1,938 women were trained how to safely operate a firearm, shoot in just 2 days. First day on the 15th, which was a Saturday, 1,200, which is a single day record for me.
Wow.
Eclipsed only by 814 last year. And then on Sunday, we had some capacity issues at the range we were at, and we only were able to do 738 on Sunday. So, man, it was a great day. Everyone was exhausted when it was over. But, man, let me tell you, the euphoria you feel after having beaten your best record and putting it out of reach, at least for this iteration, is very exhilarating and very satisfying.
I got to tell you, Rick, I'm giving you a round of applause right now. And none of this like polite little golf clap either. I mean, that is just absolutely outstanding. 1,900 women getting this gun safety class. So, all right, so here's the question I know that is on everybody's mind. How did you find enough ammo to put 1,900 women through a gun safety course over this past weekend?
You know, and ammo was on everybody's mind because, you know, it's very scarce these days. So I'll tell you, the secret to this and the secret to everything, as I've learned through my walk in life and my experiences of getting things done, man, it all boils down to relationships, man. And fortunately for me, throughout this journey, man, I've developed a relationship with an ammo manufacturer. I actually know a guy who manufactures factory ammunition. He is an ammo producer, and I touched base with him earlier in the year when I thought we were going to do this event earlier. Mm-hmm. And I got a commitment from him for 10,000 rounds. And then there's a gun rights organization, Michigan Gun Owners, that buys their ammo from him, and they purchased on my behalf another 10,000 rounds. So this person who runs Phoenix Ammo, spelled F-E-N-I-X, came through with 20,000 rounds. And the thing I want to really say about this guy is that when we initially were going to do it in May and we got sidelined by the governor, he actually put the ammo off to the side thinking that I might somehow pull off this event and make it happen.
Oh, wow.
And yes, we were able to do that, and the ammo was still there. And as I look out all over cyberspace, man, I'm seeing the capacity supply issues with ammo as well as guns is like a very serious situation right now. But for us, through this iteration of this program, it wasn't a problem.
I am really, really glad to hear that. And we're looking at some pictures of the weekend as we're talking here. Tell me about some of the people who showed up. I mean, this is sort of a basic gun safety course. So I'm guessing that most of the people who were there were not all that familiar with firearms. Did you have a lot of new gun owners? Were there women who were still thinking about buying a gun if they could, find one on in a gun store somewhere? Who was it who showed up this past weekend?
Obviously, they're all the women, and they run the entire spectrum age-wise. I mean, from 12 with parental consent all the way up to senior citizens, man. Our age and older. If I can rag on you for a second,
I was going to say, I don't know who you're talking about. It was our stuff for senior citizens.
But, man, and they come to me with a variety of experiences with firearms. Many of them were first-time, gun owners, throughout all the hype with all the things that are going on in the world today, man. They say, hey, let me buy a gun. And then there's supply issues with regards to being able to take a safety class and being able to get training. And so this was an opportunity for them to come in and learn some basic minimums about guns. And of course, I am always honored by the women who come to this program faithfully. There's a number of them that have been to every iteration of this program. There are some that come and take a few years off and then come back. But I really appreciate and love it when folks come back to the program, because they tend to bring other people with them, and it's sort of a shadow marketing campaign where actually satisfied participants are bringing people along with them. And plus, I try to keep track of people who've gone through the program. At least I have their email addresses and I don't spam them. I just contact them when this event comes up, and then they really respond in droves. And to a person, I'm glad to get them all here, man. And it was great, especially with this past weekend, with the huge numbers of women that we had participate. I'm truly honored that they trust us to safely train them, man, and for them to show up. And then after the event is over, to talk about it in social media. And already I'm getting inundated with people who are inquiring as to when I'm going to do it next. But, the resources to do a program of this nature on the scale that I do it on. I just can't afford to do it regularly, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, look, the demand for this, you could probably, get hundreds of people out every weekend. But as you say, this is a lot of work. You are relying on, the efforts of volunteers and of patrons like Phoenix Ammunition. So yeah, this is not something you can do every day. But the good news is that, you are an NRA certified firearms instructor. So if folks want to get their concealed carry license, they can come to you. If they want defensive pistol training, they can come to you, right? Then that's still, you're still open for business.
I'm still open for business, man, and still going strong, still teaching classes. As a matter of fact, I'm doing a class for a church at a church of all places this upcoming weekend. But the whole focus of this program, as I launched it 9 years ago, was not as a business marketing function, man. Mm-hmm. I was seriously distressed at a story I saw here locally in Detroit, man. One of our local Fox affiliates ran a story about a woman's body that was left, and discarded as trash in an alley, on a public street, man. And I felt someone had to do something about it, so my brainchild was to come up with this program in its first iteration 9 years ago, and I was only able to train 50 women how to use a gun one afternoon. And man, I just kept growing it, and lo and behold, in year 9, over 1,900 women across 2 days. I'm truly honored at those women that seek me out and take me up on this training. And believe it or not, there are many who, after we talk about what we did, they swear in the previous 9 years they never heard about me. But to speak directly to your question, yeah, I'm a firearms trainer and still working strong and still satisfying the demand for people who want to take on a more active role in their personal protection.
Well, listen, Rick, I appreciate everything you do on behalf of our audience. Thank you for putting this event together. I'm so glad that it was such a huge success. You've set a high bar for your 10th anniversary next year, but I have no doubt that next year's program is going to be just as successful as this year's. But again, congratulations on a fantastic event.
Man, thank you. One of the things about goals, man, and I'm sure you have goals that you set, is that you always want to push your goal to just outside what you think you can accomplish.
Yep.
And I thought that the mark that I set as our goal for this year, a mere 1,500 women across 2 days, was something that I could not get. And man, when we got 1,200 in that first day, I really was in a quandary because it was inevitable that I was going to get, my goal of 1,500. And I felt like I didn't push myself hard enough. So, you know what, man? One thing I want to say is that it's always a pleasure and an honor to be on your show, to talk to your listening audience and tell them what we're doing here in Detroit, man. And just to sort of pique your interest and let you know, man, I'm currently undertaking plans to take my show on the road, man. And you know what? If I can't get you to come to Detroit, guess what I'm going to do?
You got to come to Virginia?
I'm going to go. I'm going to come to various places around the country, and I'm going to come in your backyard if I have to, and do this program to get you involved. Yes, I'm going to do that. You forced me to come to Virginia, man, and I'm going to come to Virginia and grab you out of your house screaming and hollering and make you participate in my program.
You will not have to drag me, I promise you. And listen, I'm telling you, I told you this the last time we had you on the show. My next road trip, I'm going to Detroit. It's just I haven't had a road trip yet. So, I'm not adverse to coming up there. I would love to come up there. I'd love to sit on one of your courses. I wish I could make it up there this weekend as you're teaching that concealed carry course at the local church. But you and I are going to stay in touch. And, listen, even if I do get up to Detroit, though, you still got to come down to Virginia. All right? Yeah, if you're going to take this on the road, I want Virginia to be the first stop.
Yeah, for sure, man. With the shutdown and everything, usually I make it to Virginia a couple of times out of the year, but with this shutdown and all, man, we didn't have the annual meeting, and we didn't have the NRA's, meeting. I'm on a committee.
Yep.
And we haven't had any meetings. So they have another board meeting coming up, and since I'm on a committee, I'm thinking maybe there's a chance they might bring me in, but maybe they won't. I don't know. I'm still trying to get updated on all of that, man. But it's always good to come down to Virginia, and yeah, man. I would love to take my show on the road down there and go around the country, man. But like I said, whatever I'm going to have to do to get you involved in this program, man, I'm going to do it.
All right. Done. I think that's going to be an easy sell. Rick Ector from Rick's Firearm Academy of Detroit, legally armed in Detroit. You can find him on Twitter, on Facebook at Detroit CCW. And Rick Ector, my friend, thank you again for everything you do. Thanks for coming on the show today. The honor and the pleasure all mine.
Man, thank you again for having me on, and I appreciate you. Love you, brother, man. I can't wait till I see you next time, man.
Love you too, Rick. We'll talk to you soon. Rick Ector joining us here on Bearing Arms, Cam & Company. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And yes, I will get to Detroit. I'm not blowing smoke up Rick's rear end or anything like that. I literally I've left my house, but I couldn't tell you the last really nice long road trip that I've been able to take. And I love road trips. Selena Zito has my dream job because she gets to just drive around the country all day talking to strangers about stuff. And that seems really appealing to me. But the next time I do take a road trip, I promise you, Rick, it's going to be up to Detroit. All right, let's get to today's Armed Citizen story, our good deed of the day, our recidivist report, which is a doozy, by the way. We had the good news. Okay, here's the not so good news. Are you ready for this one? From Houston, Texas. Take a look at this headline. Man accused of murder has now been linked to a second killing while out on bond, Houston police say. 27-year-old Gerald Washington accused of fatally shooting a man back in February. He's now wanted on additional murder charges in Harris County, Texas, because he was allowed to bond out on that previous murder charge. According to KHOU in Houston, Texas, investigators say that Washington shot the victim back in February as he drove away from business in the area. He was later identified, charged in the victim's death. Now he's wanted for first-degree murder. Houston Police Department says that details surrounding that case have not been released, so we don't exactly know all of the circumstances regarding the second alleged murder second murder that Washington was alleged to have been part of. And we don't know why Washington was released on bond in that February killing, nor do we know why Washington was allowed bond in the first place. It could have been $1 million bond, could have been $500,000, could have been $50,000, but we still don't know why this individual, who was, again, accused of murder, was allowed to go free and now facing additional murder charges there in Houston, Texas. So, unfortunately, our recidivist report today, Gerald Washington, who is still, by the way, not in custody. They're still looking for him. Yeah, even with the 2 murder charges, they have not yet taken Gerald Washington in custody. Hopefully they're able to do that in the very near future. Our armed citizen story of the day from the Akron, Ohio area, where a homeowner in Greene, Ohio, ended up detaining a burglar who they found in an upstairs bedroom. This was last week. It was a week ago. Sheriff's office got a 911 call just before 3 o'clock in the morning. Homeowner said a female had entered the home, was found inside the upstairs bedroom. And that's when he decided, I'm going to go ahead and get the police involved here. The burglar initially identified herself to authorities as a 29-year-old woman from Akron. She was detained by the homeowner at gunpoint until the sheriff's office arrived. Inspector Bill Holland with the Summit County Sheriff's Office says, unfortunately for her, she not only got arrested, but she was captured by a homeowner who was not going to be broken into that evening. It was later determined, by the way, that the burglar provided police with a false identity. So there's another criminal charge. She's actually 30-year-old Megan Ryland, according to an updated news release from the sheriff's office. She entered the home through an unlocked garage door. Don't do that. Don't leave your doors unlocked. I mean, even if you think to yourself, I live in a quiet community, nothing ever happens here. Maybe the reason why nothing ever happens there is because your neighbors keep their doors locked. Ever thought about that? Anyway, she apparently entered the home through this unlocked garage door, went through several rooms looking for items to steal, according to the sheriff's office. She was arrested, charged with burglary, second-degree felony, along with additional charges for misrepresenting herself to law enforcement. The person who she pretended to be has had all charges dropped because they weren't involved in the crime at all, and the homeowner who held Ryland at gunpoint until officers arrived, not facing any charges either. Finally today, our good deed of the day from Oregon, Newport, Oregon, where a family helped to fix a vandalized bench that served as a memorial for police officers. Police say that Longview police officer Kevin Sawyer and his family were visiting Newport on vacation, and they ran across this bench that had been vandalized with graffiti. So Kevin Sawyer and his family decided they would take a couple of hours out of their vacation and repaint this bench. They bought paint, they bought brushes, and they got to work. Jamie Sawyer said it may not be perfect, but the lessons learned and the memories made on this vacation will last a lifetime. The bench, by the way, was made by retired Newport officer Steve Ector, and he made this bench to honor the memory of Oregon State Police Senior Trooper James Hatch, who was well known there in the local area. After he retired, he was diagnosed with cancer within a few months and passed away. So this, again, was a tribute not only to all of the men and women in law enforcement, but in particular to a local state trooper there who apparently was pretty beloved in the community. According to the Newport, Oregon Police Department, they say this is not what your typical vacationing family does when they go on vacation. We are not only grateful for their actions over the weekend, we are honored and amazed. So in the right place, at the right time, willing and able to do the right thing. Officer Kevin Sawyer and his family on vacation, but not off duty. We thank you very much for your very good deed. That is going to do it for this edition of Bearing Arms Cam & Company. I want to thank you for being a part of the program as always. Don't forget, you can subscribe to Bearing Arms Cam & Company on your favorite podcast platform. If you just want the audio version, you don't want to see the beard just, kind of waving in the wind here in the studio. If you do want to, check under the beard on a daily basis, you can subscribe to Town Hall Media at YouTube. That way you get the festive visuals along with the latest Second Amendment news and information. Until we talk again, be well, be safe, be free, and we'll see you tomorrow with another edition of Bearing Arms Cam & Company.